tools and everything, leave it to the what call that universe to help you work out the rest, how this, how that, or whatever. But at the same time, on our part, we still need to work smart in terms of manifesting lah. What do I mean by work smart? Using the least effort to get the most result. Okay. So look at me. For me, I'm kind of a solopreneur. That means one person kind of work, right? But it's I seem to be doing a lot of things. I teach, I do services, I have my own website, I have LMS system, I have this, I have that, one person how to do all these things. So therefore, work smart is very important. Okay, work smart is very important. And also the how thing that is taking up the most time, I leave it to the universe. Okay, I'll just follow what the universe said. Okay, now it's the time to do this, I do this. But while I'm doing this, I make sure I use the work smart way of doing things. So which I'm going to share with you. Now we all know that if you want result, you have to put in your effort. Right? So this model will just show you the correlation between effort and result. If you put in the effort, you should have some kind of results. But not all efforts that you put in will brings along the result that you want. I'm saying this again. Not all the effort that you put in will brings you the kind of result that you truly want. Sometimes the result turn otherwise. Sometimes the result is like kacang putih, but you put in elephant kind of effort. Not worth it, not proportionate. Then how? Okay. Now studies have found 80% of companies' absenteeism is caused by 20% of staff. That means it's only that vital few 20% accounts for the entire company 80% MC rate. All right. And then next, 80% of complaints are by 20% of customers. That means if let's say you have 100 customers, okay, 80% of complaints that you receive comes from only that 20. The other 80 are okay one. They are good with your services or your products. It's only that few 20 that give you 80% of complaints, and you're spending time dealing with 80% of complaints coming from that 20%. Right? Next, 80% of software glitches are caused by 20% of bugs. Yeah. Only the small little bugs, but give you 80% of the headache with the software. Right? 80% of sales are from 20% of your clients. Now, this is not from me. These are from studies that some people conduct, and then they come out with these statistics. Okay, 80% of sales are produced by 20% of a company's product or services. That means if you have 100 products or services, not all will be profit making. It's probably only the 20, the vital few 20 that will give you 80% of the sales. Okay, the rest are just if have bonus, if don't have like that, Okay, now the last one is 80% of wealth is owned by 20% of the population. Isn't that true? The wealthy people, when you put them together, is just the top, the cream. It's only the top 20% that own 80% of the wealth of the entire world. So there are many, many more. So what I'm showing you these studies is to tell you that effort and result a lot of time are not proportional, are not directly related. Okay. So you may have a 20%, situation whereby just put in 20% effort, you get 80% result. Or you may conversely put in 80% effort, but this 80% only brings along a 20% result. Now tell me, between A and B, which one do you prefer? A or B? A meaning 20% effort, 80% result. Or B, 80% effort, 20% result. Which one would you prefer, A or B? I think this is no-brainer, right? No-brainer. When we talk about work smart, I think you should know what the answer should be. Thank you, Fiona. A. Just put in the 20%, you get 80% results. Yeah, this is manifesting. Isn't it? Wu Wei. This is Wu Wei. In Tao Te Ching, it's called Wu Wei. Right? Effortless. Almost effortless. Because why? It's not proportional 20 to get 80. Then, back to manifesting. Back to manifesting. 80% of your stress, unhappiness, and challenges, why things cannot manifest, why you don't have what you want, is likely to come from 20% of things, people, stuff that you do. Let me repeat. 80% of your stress, unhappiness, and challenges is likely to come from 20% of things, people, stuff you do. So if you want to work smart, tackle the 20%. You don't have to tackle everything in your life. Don't have to. You just need to focus. Remember, talk about attention, focus. Focus on this 20%. Try to resolve them as much as you could. You are already bringing down the 80% of your stress, unhappiness, and challenges straight away. Conversely, 80% of your happiness, good vibes, all your manifesting is likely to come from 20% of the things you do, like positive affirmation, like changing your belief system. Like last week we talked about, the tapping thing, uninstalling your negative limiting belief and then installing empowering belief. All these are just 20% that you do. Or every morning, connect to the universe, paint your most ideal situation. 20% of the things you do, that is going to bring about 80% of your happiness and good vibes. If you know this to be true, every morning, would you want to do the thing that I share with you about connecting to the universe at the alpha state, alpha mental state? That's 5 to 10 minutes of your time of the 24 hour that you have. And you know that 5 to 10 minutes of that 24 hour will bring you 80% of happiness, good vibes for the entire day. And then when it's added up over time, it becomes your life. Is that worth it? This is called working smart. Right? So what we want to do is just simply reverse engineer your happiness long. Now you know already, you want happiness. Okay, you want 80% of your happiness, blah, blah, blah. You just have to reverse a bit, find out what's the 20% that brings on the happiness. Keep doing that. Keep doing that. Keep focusing your attention on the 20%. And same thing, if you want to bring down your unhappiness, your stress, or whatever, your blockers, whatever, go and reverse engineer, go and troubleshoot and trace back to that 20% that give you all this unhappiness. Then tackle them. 20%. If you have 100 issues, right, only 20 issues. If you have 10 issues, it's only the 2 issues. Tackle the 2 issues. You will solve 80% of your unhappiness already. So let's work smart. Okay, let's work smart. So let's do this exercise before we go for a break. I call it as work smart exercise. Now, get ready your pen, paper. I'll be asking you questions and then you just write it down. If you're ready, okay, if you are ready and I can proceed, type ready in the chat box. Thank you, Eve. Thank you, Fiona. Okay, ready. Question 1. Which 20% of sources are causing 80% of your problem and unhappiness? I repeat, which 20% of sources are causing 80% of your problems and unhappiness? Let me see, I can start the timer. Okay, timer, 2 minutes. Go ahead, start. So it can be anything, it could be anyone, could be any situation. For example, if you want to narrow down to last year 2023, so be it. Let's narrow down to 2023, the entire 2023. What is it, or who is it, or what kind of situation is causing you griefs? Just write down. Okay, it could be, for example, the particular client, every few days come in and complain until it take up most of my time to write, to address the complaint. Okay, until I have no other time to do other things. Or it could be the daily morning traveling to work, the jam, the congestion, the busyness in the street and things like that, that's giving you the kind of stress and that is causing you 80% of your mental stress, high stress, and things like that, unhappiness, and that could be that, huh? Or your bosses micromanaging or WhatsApp you every few minutes, and demanding immediate reply, that kind of situation, that's causing you 80% of the stress every day. And then sleep also, you will just choke up from your sleep, in case you miss out any WhatsApp from your boss, you know. Or is it your procrastination is causing you stress? You need to work, but somehow you couldn't get yourself to work, all these things. What is it? What's that vital few 20% of sources that causing you 80% of problem and happiness? If you have already, you're ready. If you want to share in your chat box, feel free to share in the chat box now. No need to share all, one or two will do. Alan say, not yet sell my renovated house. Put another way, this 20% will clear my path. Okay, yes. Okay, so this will be a critical path for you. Alan, thank you for sharing this. Selling your house, your renovated house, because this is now taking up most of your mind, of your brain juice. When is it selling? Why is it not selling? All these things is taking up your mental stress. But once you get it done, okay, then the rest of the year you can do what you want to do because you're creating space to do something better. Okay, thanks, Alan, for sharing this. Now you may want to use a bit of feng shui to help enhance the possibility of selling the house. I think we covered that in the home frequency tuning. If not, then come back in March for the refresher. I'll make sure I'll talk about that. Okay, Alan? Okay, thumbs up. Anybody else want to share yours? What 20% Alan has shared is his is 20% is the not able to sell the renovated house yet. Okay, Alan said not rest of the year, but I can move on with my to-do list in my life. Yep, very good. Very good. Yes, we should in Dao De Jing, there is a phrase called 损之又损. 损 is come from the 损卦. Okay, hexagram 41, right? It's called 损卦. It means diminishing, peeling off. The 损之又损 means in our life we should keep on discarding things that no longer serve us, especially the 20%, so that it make room, make more space for new, better things to come. Right? So, okay, so we are done with question 1. Let's move on to question 2. Now, for Alan, if you have limiting belief about selling that renovated house, please revisit last week's lesson about removing that limiting belief, the tapping. Can you do that, Alan? If you find that you have limiting belief about selling the house, you find that it should be very difficult to sell the house. If you have that kind of feeling, then there's a limiting belief. Then go back to last week's lesson, clear that limiting belief, reinstall new beliefs. Is that okay? Okay. Question 2. Now, based on the list that written down, pick the top 2 that are causing 80% of your problems and unhappiness. Okay, great. Thank you, Alan. Right. So question 2. You may have written down 4, 5, 6, those 20% things. Okay. Now I just want you to pick the top 2. Top 2 that are causing 80% of a problem and unhappiness. Top 2. Now for Alan, if this is the only one, then this is the only one. Then pick this lah. I think this should be easy because you already have a list. You just have to circle the top 2 that you think is contributing to most of the 80%. Now, what I'm sharing with you, this kind of exercise is what I do to myself too. That's why after a while, after removing a lot of my 20%, I find that me and my wife and my whole family, now I actually going through what in Chinese what we call 向往的生活. If you know what it means, 向往的生活. Fiona said, my colleague keep complaining about her issue every day, jam to back office every day. Oh, I see. I know someone has this kind of issues, tends to complain about the daily commute, or jam here, jam there, traffic light, it was 1 hour to drive to work, get very frustrated inside. And these are building up inside. Okay. Which is not good. And then she or he will pass on to the co-workers and keep complaining maybe during lunch break, when you lunch with her or him, he will bring this up and talk again. Okay. And then, his vibe will be passed to you. And if you allow yourself to receive that vibes, it will stay with you. You get magnetized. So don't allow yourself to receive. Okay, thumbs up. All right. So if you're done, we'll move on. So Fiona said, I did not realize I actually turned my ears off. Also, I stopped talking about it now. Very good. You should. Okay. What you allow will continue. What you disallow will not. So if you allow yourself to receive this kind of vibes, this will be part of you. Okay. So I'm glad that you turn your ears off. Continue doing this. Okay. Continue doing this. Yeah. Okay. Next question 3. I'll give you 2 minutes. The top 2, right? The top 2. So remember, I always say that it's always small step each time. You don't have to go one big bang, one big shift and things like that. Just look at this top 2. What can you do about that? I give you 2 minutes. Start now. Okay. What can you do about this top 2? Whatever comes to mind, no matter how crazy it is, write it down. Don't pass judgment yet. Just write it down. I'm sure some of you will come back and tell me, I can't think of any. We are, by doing this, we are making 1 degree shift. Very small degree shift, but very powerful. Alan say, believe it will be so, and I'm imagining how happy I will be when able to sell it. It's nice house, but no fit. Okay. At the same time, I also feel not putting enough effort to get more agent to sell. Okay, very good. Thanks for sharing this, Alan. I will comment on that later on, shortly after. How about the rest? Anybody want to share yours? 1 or 2? So I want to ask all of you, did you all write something down for this question? Do you have some inputs for these questions? That means you actually write down, perhaps these are the things I could do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you all manage to write something down? Okay, Fiona say, my colleague just told me she will stop telling me, as I also asked her, so how? So when she already told me her answer. Okay, I'm free now with her daily negativity. Okay, good. Settle. See, settle. Done. Okay. Now for Alan and for Alan first. At the same time, I also feel not putting enough effort to get more agents to sell. Now, thanks for writing that down. Okay, because this is something that you feel you can do something about that. Now, my question to you right now, Alan, why didn't you do what you have just written down? Why didn't you do? Same goes for the rest of you. Those things that written down, my question to you is, why didn't you do what you have just written down? You see, some of you may come up with 101 excuses already. Because no time lah. Because I no whatever. The fact is, you didn't do. If you didn't do, and you know this is something that you could do, if you have done it, perhaps this 20% could be resolved even faster. You all get my point? You seem to know the answer, but you're not acting on it. And therefore, this 20% will still remain there, and you will still remain to give you the 80% of the problem. This is called working smart. Because I know this 20%, if I can resolve, you give me 80% of the happiness already. I better work on it. My attention is all on this until it free up my time and my space. This become critically important. Okay, and when you tell yourself this is critically important, you'll find ways to do it. right? Okay, so now we have deal with these three questions. We deal with the area about what caused the unhappiness, the stress, and blah blah blah, all these things. Okay, so the next few questions will deal about what brings you happiness. Okay, question 4. Which 20% of sources are resulting in 80% of a desired outcome and happiness? I repeat, which 20% of sources are resulting in 80% of a desired outcome and happiness? Now we flip the table and ask you, what 20% that you do will bring about 80% of your good things, the good vibes, all the good luck, all the good outcome and happiness and things like that. Oh, I don't have a timer here. Okay, I'll tell you, I'll give you 2 minutes. I'll start my timer. And one time is up, I will let you know. So go ahead, start now. Right, start now. Okay. Alan's, your comment, Eve's comment, later I'll comment on that. Thank you. So it could be anything, could be anyone, could be any situation, that brings you 80% of a desired outcome and happiness. Now, for me, very easy. The more I take things lightly, the more happy I am. That means the more I get detached from the outcome, the more happiness I get. Okay, and the more I what call that conduct classes like this, the more happiness I feel. Okay, and then sometimes the more I go and arrange la copy with some friends, students, and clients, okay, the better I get also. So what is that 20%? It could be anything, could be anyone, could be any situation. And then once you have written down, if you want to share, feel free to share. And once you have written down, quickly move on to question 5. Pick the top 2. Okay, pick the top 2, that like what we have done earlier on. Pick the top 2 among the list you have written down now for this question, and then we'll move on from there. Okay, so if you want to share yours, feel free to type in the chat box. Don't need to share all, that's 1 or 2 will do. Okay, thumbs up. Okay, thumbs up. All right. So, okay, back to Alan's comment. Alan said it could be I want put my sales exclusive or to people whom got faith and don't want to simply make my house sales like selling fish. Also, personally, I didn't have much focus. Okay, now you have this as an answer to my question about why have you not done this that you have written down. Now, you just have to evaluate what you have written down and then see, is it still valid? Which part of it still valid? Okay, if you feel that it's really, really must be exclusive, then so be it. Then you have to take it with a pinch of salt that things may get prolonged. You get my point? If your intention is to sell, and move off, anything goes, man. Okay, and then when you pump it up with a little bit of feng shui enhancement, things will get easier. Pump it up with your enhanced empowering belief system, things will move even easier. So basically, you must have clarity on what you want, right? If it's saying, I would like to share, just do what we can and detach the emotion or outcome. Okay, yes, do what you can, 尽人事, and then detach the emotion from the outcome. Very good. Will I get 100% of happiness? Yi Jing always say there's no such thing as 100%. Okay, no such thing as 100%. Whatever. The bad also no 100%. The good also don't have 100%. There's always a norm and an exception. You may feel 100% happiness most of the time, but there are certain times you may feel a bit down, but you have to recover yourself and then you start to feel happiness again. Then there could be a moment of down. Just like shares up and down, even though it's on an uptrend. Okay, even though it's an uptrend, in between there'll still be up and down. Same thing with life, right? So Alan said, recently I watched drama and learned from their script about life. This balanced up my way of good feel. Oh, very good. Very good. Okay. Good. So you pick your top 2 already, which is my next question, question 5. Okay, so I'll move on already. Okay, now question 6 is think about your intention. Think about intention that we have set in lesson 1. Either your long-term intention or your short-term intention. Okay, with that as the background, which 20% of the possible action you can take will likely create 80% of your desired results. That's now that long list. Okay, which 20% of the possible action you can take will likely create 80% of your desired results. I'll start the time now. Especially the top 2 that you have circled. Okay, especially the top 2 that you have circled. Thinking about your intention, which of these possible action you can take will likely create 80% of a desired result. That means now I'm doing sanity check. Yes, those things that you have done, you said you have done, will bring you the happiness. Is that happiness aligned to your higher intention? Now we are doing some sanity check. If you don't do that alignment, next year, probably when you come back, you may tell me, yeah, I've been doing what you say I'll do, but I still don't achieve my intention because it's not aligned. You feel happy, but you did not get the intention. Right? So now we're doing some alignment back to your higher intention. And this is what we call intentional action, intentional living. So for me, I know I have to keep on doing training like this, training. Whether it's online or in classroom, it's still training. I have to keep on doing this because it's aligning back to my higher intention of making positive difference in people's life. Yeah. And then I have to filter off all other distractions. Last year, I have an offer. Okay, a job offer, not a bad job offer. Okay, very lucrative kind of job offer. But I decline. Okay, I decline. So because all these, no matter how lucrative, how good looking it is, to me it's distraction because it's going to pull me away from my higher intention. So I decline. So I only focus on the vital fews, which is providing service, doing training like this coaching program, and developing myself. They mean enhancing myself, my knowledge, or doing research studies, things like that. Okay, thumbs up. So if you want to share one or two of it that you have written down, feel free to share. Alan say, get each agent in every 2 weeks to advertise my sales. Oh, good. Good. You see, if you do this diligently enough, this exercise, diligently enough, you find that you will start to see a shift in your life because you are intentionally taking action that's aligning yourself to your higher intention. And no more procrastinating if you act on these insights. Okay, done. So basically, this exercise is to help you have better clarity on that 20%, the good side of the 20% and the not so good side of the 20%. And then the good side one, do more of it. The not so good side one, find ways to resolve it or to remove it or to address it. Okay. So basically, what are the few things you love doing and have the biggest impact, right? And also, what are those few things that you hate doing and also have the biggest impact? It goes both way. So it's a vital few, the 80-20 rule. So my suggestion for you, if this is the first time you are doing this exercise and committing yourself to do something about it, the 1 degree shift, then my suggestion to you is to do this exercise quarterly for a start. Quarterly. Right? But once you think that you are already somewhere there, your 20% is getting smaller, smaller, smaller until it's so insignificant, then you can, do it maybe once a year. Okay, once a year or something like that, or every few years, which is fine. You decide. But for now, if this is the first time and you find that there are a lot of messy things to take care of, then do this quarterly. So every quarter you stock take, stock take, stock take. And then go and find out is the 20% still remains 20% after 3 months. If it is so, why is it still there? If you have done something, why is it still there? Is it because the thing that you think could resolve those issues is not working good enough, and therefore you need some tweaking? Quarterly is the time that you need to do all this tweaking. If the good ones need some condition to fulfill the money, time, and yet if the people not qualified for the condition, so how? Okay, see the how part comes in, right? The how part comes in. Now, remember when I say when there is a question about how, what is my suggestion to you? Remember when there's a how part that comes in, what's my suggestion to you? The how part, you leave it to the universe. You just throw the intention to the universe, say, hey, how I have this. Thank you, Fiona. Show me the way. Leave it to universe, like what Fiona said. Leave it to universe to decide on the how. Right? Now back then when I switch this industry, my kids were still very young, and back then things are not cheap also, inflation going up also. There are a lot of consideration, I think, if like what Eve is saying, that the money, the time, and people is actually depending on me to survive and things like that. Then if I don't move, 好像对不起自己. If I move, it seems to saying that I'm neglecting another portion of my life, like that. Then how, like that is actually crippling me, paralyzing me not to move forward. So what I do is I throw it to the universe. I say I don't care. I'm making this move. So the rest of the problem, you help me settle. Today okay. Not a big problem. I also don't care how. Somehow the how does resolve by itself. Remember, I talk about the manifesting, the 10 proof problems start to resolve by itself. Somehow, I don't care. Okay, so whenever there's a how part, throw to the universe. You gao for me. You settle for me. Can or not? This is called the right brain manifesting. I don't care already. If they laugh out loud, okay, I shall the universe. I shall tell the universe like that. Thanks, master. Yes, you try out, you do it. You try out, you do it. You don't care how. Like a spoiled brat like that. I don't care. You settle for me. I just know what I want. I'm moving forward, no matter what. Like okay. Somehow lah, because universe, like I say, universe will always agree with you. You say yes, I agree. You should move ahead. Let me take care of the rest. You get my point? Okay, so one page action plan. Now you have done this. I am suggesting you to do it quarterly if this is the first time you do, right? So whatever you have written down, right? So those things, the 20%, and what a thing that you can do to continue the 20% or to address the 20%, write it down into one page. Okay, so what should you write down in that one page action plan? Write down your plans to reach the goal. That means those things that you written down. So for example, Alan is saying, every week, get each agent in every 2 weeks to advertise my sales. That will be your plan. And to reach what goal? To get the renovated house sold. Okay, so that is the goal, right? So then after that, if you think that step is too big to undertake, then you break it down into smaller tasks. And then take that one's first obvious small step. Okay, take that first and obvious step. And then after that, once you're done with the first step, carry on with the next step. Once you're done with the next step, carry on with the next step. So every day, just ask yourself this question, can do already. This is what I ask myself every day. And what's the question? Every day, ask yourself, which one are you going to do? Which one are you going to do? Okay. So maybe Alan should be asking this week, okay, this 2 week, which agent should I call to advertise my sales? All right. So you should be asking yourself this. Okay. So this is how you give focus to your intention. Focus, attention. Okay. And then movement is getting each agent in every 2 weeks. Right. So back to Eve question. No, don't have to know how you are going to get there. Okay. Don't have to know. So seriously, a lot of things I want. I told the universe that I want this. I'm going ahead. I don't care how I'm going to get there, but I'm getting there. Okay. Why? I just take my first step out. And then, if you just try it out, what I say, miraculously, you find that the next step will always show up. The next step will always show up. How it show up? New ideas, new resource, new people, new 贵人, new recommendation, new book, new courses, everything new. Or maybe a new people that share with you something new, or old people telling you something new. All these things can come in. So the next step will always show up. So I don't worry. I just have to, whatever is the next step, I just move on with the next step. That's like escalator. The next step comes on, I just step on it. It will bring me up. Right? And I'm always a fan of small step each time. I know there are a lot of people who always go for big bang changes, big step changes, 180-degree changes. I'm not a fan of that because most of the time, that is what leads people to procrastinate because the step is just too wide and too big. Now, I show you some illustration. You get what I mean straight away. Which side is easier to go up? The left side or the right side? The big step or the small step? I think no brainer, right? Looking at this illustration, you will know small step makes things easier. Small step makes you feel lesser resistant to do it. Small step will not make you procrastinate that much. Small step will make you feel that, every step is a success because this is so no-brainer thing. You just do this, you achieve that, you have small successes. So you will want to do more. And that is where the inspired action comes in. That's where you feel motivated to do more. Inspired action. But if you're going for the big move, big change, 180-degree change, it's like someone struggling to climb up even the first block, the first step. Tough. And then once you can't climb, you give up and say, sucks, it won't work. Okay, and you are back to square one. So I'm not a fan of big change. I'm a fan of 1-degree shift, small step each time. This is what I Ching is telling us. 小序卦 hexagram 9. Okay, 丰天小序, small accumulation of steps. Can? All right. So with this, I think we have covered even more under the component core movement. Not only we talk about inspire action, or when to take, what to take, procrastination, but whatever, perfectionism, all these things. Then I also show you how to work smart. It's the 80-20 rule. And I also work on, giving you all the better clarity on what are the 20% and especially the top 2 that you should work on. And based on that you've written down, formulate your own 1-page action plan. And if this is the first time you're doing this, review it quarterly. Do the same exercise quarterly and see what has changed. All right? If nothing has changed or you have gotten worse, then remember, ask yourself this: why is this happening for me? And think back about the mastermind game. Did you accidentally change out one color and become a wrong color totally? And then you tweak again for the next step. Right? Question? I'm sure you are tired already. Okay, so let's go for a short break. After the break, we'll move on to the last module, module